quick organization, and we will be underway in no time. Keep working amongst the jigs. Get our length. Need to be 36 and 3/8. So there's our board. We want it 36 and 3/8. So mark, grab some pencil. Good. 36, 3/8. We have a square that we trust. Maybe there's our mark. Go from here to here. Over the mark. And on the other side, assuming these are square edges, I don't think they are. This is one we want to trust. You can tell the factory cut or straight cut edge by just looking down it. Like exactly down. Looks pretty good. Also looks pretty good. There's some chipping on that, so it's not likely this is the factory. This is probably a cut that was made later. This is the factory side, most likely. We can check it. We put it against that line. It deviates a little bit that way. I'll put it on the line here. It deviates a little bit that way. So it's the same coming from this side. So this is my true side. Now for this application, it's not a super serious issue, but it could be on something else. And it's a distinction you need to be able to make so that you can do fine woodworking and not this crap all on. Alright, either way, now we got a line on there. I'm gonna go over to the table saw and make it happen, Captain. And yes, you can come along if you like, because you're my friend. Alright. Let's get us a plug him in. Got the little sled. Now my sled is small because I don't generally need a big sled. But I am, as I get more interested in my processes, it definitely is going to become a thing. Now, I made my measurement from that end, but the sled is only this wide. So, what we're going to do is make our cut based on this thing. You're gonna see me do something a little bit weird here, and it's because my sled is not the best sled, but my fence is amazing. So I'm gonna trust my fence for the first little bit of this cut, and then we're going to get into the sled action. All right. You'll see what I mean in a second. That's locked in. That's good to go. Power. See, my fence is on the perfect 90, so I know that my cut is good, despite my slightly crooked line over here. Now, if I had my sled there, or my sled were a little bit bigger, I could have been able to cut that a little easier, but I get teetering, so that means my sled needs to be maybe longer, maybe wider, that kind of thing. Then I have to dang it, I was having a good time. Oh man, a couple of y'all hung out with me, and I appreciate that. Appreciate that. So now we're gonna go ahead and cut this to the width that we want it to be, because that's way too wide for what we're doing. All right. So what we want width-wise, I would say maybe 4 inches might be enough. Maybe 4 inches would be enough. Let's do that. Again, we got our square. We'll set that at 4 over on that side. 4 over on this side. And then we're going to get a straight edge that we can trust. If you don't have the tool specifically for straight edge, a level will work. A good level is perfectly straight. If it's not perfectly straight, it ain't a level no more. It's a boat anchor. Alright, so we got our mark. We know where we want to be. We're going to run back over to our table saw and hit that again. I'm good, Guillermo. I'm glad you're doing good today as well. I hope you're doing good today as well. Here, little space. Again, this is why it's important to have, for me, for my shop, it's important to have all my tables built at the same height so that they can support each other. So technically, I can have up to 12 feet of space either before or after that blade because of how I built my tables. I should probably say more closer to 8 feet, to be honest. I need 2 of those, and that's 3.5. So, yeah. Either way, you see what I'm saying. Again, I don't have a sled that can do what I prefer to do. So I'm just going to have to run it through the table saw, which is a pretty good table saw. I don't have a lot of beef with it at all. I'm going to take that as a shun on the tool. It's just that sleds make things a little bit less scary. And you'll notice I didn't need my hands to shut that power off. I made my power button. I put it right there at knee height. So if you build your own tables or whatever, do that at knee height. That way you don't need your hands to keep yourself safe. You can keep your board safe with your hands. All right. Back down here. Isn't it magical how just random crap keeps showing up? It's just how I get down for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe because I can use that as part of the fence. Right? Then I guess I could just kind of grab these little holes. Right? As I push things through. Or do I push things through on the face? Because it's just going to be riding along this fence, not mobile with it. So maybe something like that to give some support. Throw some glue on it and throw some screws in it. And then I think we'll be all right there. I'm going to do that real fast. Start with the glue it part. Open up, says me. Oh wait. We need to determine how far away from this we want to put this. Or if. I think we're just gonna go right up to it. It's gonna be fine. Butt up to the edge. And then beyond that edge, we're not gonna worry too much because the material that we're gonna cut for that, we're gonna face up to that edge so we don't have anything else weird going on. Now, I'm not a big fanatic about the spread of the glue on things that are not fine furnishings, right? So essentially, I'm gonna do it just like I did just now. I'm gonna make a little bit of noise. That's just what I have to do sometimes to make these dreams come true. For me and you. Y'all don't know that. That was Laverne and Shirley. More times, just to give it the variety that we are after. Now look at that, a good 90, and we're halfway to a sled. I keep calling it a sled. It's not a sled. It's not a sled. Fence. It's a fence. All right. So now we're gonna put something across the face of this. so we don't have all this jagged stuff to smack into. How do we do that? Over here. Back to the table saw. I'm not going to use my good hook for that. What are you, crazy? How tall do we need this to be? 6 inches is what we're going to do. Adjust our fence because they're so useful. Ugh. Howdy West, what are you working on today? Says Runic, man, I'm building a fence for this little jigsaw table we made the other day because we're too frugal to afford a stand up, what do you call it? You know what I'm saying. Can't even think of the name. That's how infrequently I've used that tool. So we're gonna run this through tablesaw. Oh man. Now another safety feature you're gonna want for your table saws is if you unplug them, you don't want them to come on. So that's what I did. I unplugged it. Saved myself. Here we go again. Power down. Which one is our richer one? That one. Now, the face of this one's going to be important. We don't want all this kind of junk I got right here on the back because we don't want it scuffing and catching our stuff. So, we're going to go with that clean, pretty face on the face of our slit. And the thing that we're going to do here is going to be a little different than what would be kind of intuitively what you want to do is we're going to put a little tiny spacer at the very bottom so dust can get by so it doesn't push stuff away from our saw. You know what? Maybe we won't. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's get us some more glue on our thing, and then we're going to need another clamp. And yeah, maybe we will offset it just a hair. Just a hair. Just so that that dust can go by and it'll be all right. Will these do it? I don't know if I can trust that. So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna glue this whole side heavy. I always glue a little bit high, let the little run downhill if I know I got a little bit of effort I'm gonna have to make. And then we're gonna get plenty of glue up here around all of these situations and circumstances. Reach it? Can I reach it? Jeez. Way away from my thing. This is making for a messy glue up. I think my mistake was thinking I was a woodworker. think these make it the distance I need. Alright, so we're just gonna have to shoot something in it right quick. Hold it on this corner and then move down the line. About. There's one. Now we've got an anchor point. We've also got now a reveal to hold. Put another one in there. A flap. So we don't need temporary fasteners. We got permanent ones. And again, just holding back from that edge, maybe an eighth of an inch. Maybe. Making sure my fastener's down low hold because I do not want this to be able to bow in any way. I want it dead flat. And then I'm gonna put some staples in this thing. We gotta admit, the back side of this thing is ugly. We also have to admit, the front is gonna do what we want it to do. We got that little bit of a gap right there so that dust can get in there and not interfere with our cut, start pushing our material around. And we built it cheap, admittedly, but that don't mean we don't build it right. So I am going to see if I can get this to pull back so I can maintain that 90 degrees every which way. This clamp's not deep enough. That was the problem. A weak depth clamp. So knife fight. I want these two. We just want to bond these materials. Again, I didn't use a ton of glue. What I did put there, I want to stay there. And I want it to be straight. And this will kind of help crank those fasteners in a little bit tighter too. I think I'm gonna do another one. So that's what I be doing. If you got the option to overbuild or underbuild, always overbuild. That's why we got so many clamps in the first place. Is because if you're unsure, you add another clamp. Period. Period. And as you go, you just keep clamping them. They just keep squeezing. I'm not looking for extreme glue squeeze here. I'm just looking for a straight line. And the more I work it, the more I recognize that I need yet another clamp. Now we've got fasteners in here. They will hold, but we want it to get straight and clean first, right? And we can determine that with that same straight edge tool we just talked about. Second, good old level. Level will give us what we want because it will tell us not only is it straight, it'll tell us whether or not it's flat. Because if you see any light in between, it's not. So, it takes a good tool to build a good tool. Doesn't always take an exotic tool, but a good tool. And modern machining has given us a lot better tools for the bunk these days, just off of that. So, with our cheap tool, our moderately cheap tool, we use more cheap stuff, we use free wood, and now we got a fence for this thing, so that when we start cutting with that blade, you can hold true and not have to worry about trying to watch it and the deviance of that blade. Because that blade is a jigsaw. It is going to want to wiggle a little bit. It's fastened in nice and tight, but it's not a bandsaw that's got a fastener at the top and the bottom. It's jigsaw that's only got one point of movement. But keep it good, I think we'll be all right. What I'm also going to do is take a measurement off this edge to this edge, and we're going to put a line straight down here and describe it right across the whole table because we need that. Because we want to be able to find that blade from the front and from the back, so that if we do move this, we want to be able to measure it from there and from there. Eventually we'll put a bunch of lines in there. We can shift and adjust based on that. If you get enough of them on there, you can just kind of eyeball it. But not initially. We're not going to just eyeball it out the gate. We are going to see if there's some usefulness to these little buggers. So the first thing, since it's glued up, it's held, it's in tight, it's in place, we can put our measurements. I'm going to bump just barely up against that fence right there. And then I'm going to measure what that is right there, that distance. And then I'm going to put this edge at that distance from this edge. Pull back a little bit. So if I'm going from that board to here, I've got 12 and a quarter. So that should bump it up. That's it. That's spot on. So right there, we're going to hold the line just on this side, and this will pivot if we needed to, but not a lot. Since we are here, we're going to make a mark so there's no mistaking where we should be. Go over to this side. Move more junk out of my way. Kick some trash. 12 and a quarter, not quite, and boom. That's where we're at. There. Lock this down. Check our measurement. We're just going to run this along the whole way and make sure it stays the same. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now, look again. We just got a smidge of light between that, and then we're going to ride this line with our marking knife. That's going to be over here. Fortunately, we've got a nice dark surface, so it should show up decent. Oh my God. I don't want that. I need something better. This doesn't want to do it. It wants to kind of roll into that little crack we got right there. I don't want that. I do want visibility. And that is giving us visibility. And maybe later we'll run a tool down it. See if we can figure that out. But for now, all this has to do is dry, and it's usable, and we can push stuff through. And I think we built what we was trying to build. Let me see if I got any questions in the chat. Let's see. Oh man, a lot of people came in here and talked. Thanks, Runic, I'm sorry. Very cool DIY. Will bleed you dry if you're not frugal. Absolutely. Use a push stick unless you're looking to have nubs. Oh, for sure. For sure. Everyone, what are y'all making today? What are y'all making today? Come on over, baby. Everybody hit the like button. I'm sorry, y'all. I read crazy when I'm trying to catch up. I tend to speed read, and it jumps over words when I do that. So, yeah. When I first got into woodwork, I laughed at the clamps people had owned. Now I know. That is so true, Runic. It almost seems like it's crazy. Man, we got 70 people watching and 7 likes, and y'all playing with me. I know. I know. It is what it is. I wish I could stop it. I wish I could change. But maybe I'm just not that cool. Problem is my wife is never home. I just get asked every time she's my tools if all of them are really necessary. Bro, I'm telling you. I just ask her to hold stuff for you all the time. You will either get permission for more clamps or get a shop assistant. Oh my God. Yeah. Those clamps really are just extra hands. And I need these extra hands. And we got our thing built. We should at least cut something since we got a measurement. Isn't it weird how if you try to unscrew 2 things at the same time, one wants to go clockwise, one wants to go counterclockwise? Yeah, man, a push stick is definitely what you need on something like this. Can you imagine trying to squeak your hand through there? Because all of these cuts are going to be narrow. Like, nobody's going to cut something wide on this thing, I don't think. But I do want to get an idea. And the other thing is I can put it on a tilt. So with the canes, I can get it like a taper. A nice little taper out of this. Which I'm into. Big time. So what can we cut? What can we cut? What do we need though? Cut something we need. Oh, I can cut the scrap off of this oak. Yeah. We'll line that thing up. Slide our jig back. We might need to find a way to move this a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Because we just got clamps on it right now. For now, for such a rudimentary tool. So let's look for the low spot and put that next to the blade. And I think that's it. So we'll cut a little bit more than that off. So whatever that measurement is, from there to the blade, that's what we'll do. Let's call that 15 1/8. Which from that blade is actually 3 3/8. Let's do that. 3 3/8. Boom. Boom. Squeak over. Boom. That feels right. Camera right quick like. And we start to fetch our push stick master value. We only got one. We need to build push sticks in the shop. Look at this. Walk all around in a circle again. More stuff that doesn't want to vibrate off the table. Give me another light. We got 87 people. Come on, y'all playing. Y'all playing. All right, so we got one factory edge. We know that's flat. We're gonna burn off the rest of this little wood so that we got a stock piece that's actually was it a clean cut? Nah. Was it awful? Nah. Was it competitive with the table saw? No. Not smooth enough to call it finished work. And I can get a pretty good cut with that table saw. But this is oak, so it's a particularly hard wood to cut this way, going against that grain that way. But it did do it. So I'd imagine it wouldn't have much trouble with something smaller. But also could have something to do with the blade choices and the material choices. But this worked. For shaping, we're going to be good for sure. I think you're right. That's a good thing for shaping. And for softer things, or if I just need to go a little bit, we need to make sure I'm tight. So we got a new tool in the shop. We got a new accessory for the new tool in the shop. And I think we're going to be all right. I like this jig. I like this table because it's lightweight. Build some more stuff next time. I gotta call my mechanic and see if that dude is on his way. I gotta get this truck going, y'all. I am no mechanic, that's for sure. Oh dang, I was tomorrow's live, but I think I want to build one of these tables. You definitely should. If you could get a guide at the top of that blade, that would get better results. Yeah. But it would also put me in a position where my cutting height would get dramatically narrower. So I think this is one of those things that you just got to make the trade-off that it's not going to be as good a performer as what it's simulating, but it is going to do better than anything else that I would have had in the shop prior, and it definitely does better than the jigsaw if I've got to run it through that way. So I think I did what I wanted to do, but I'm also interested in cutting some metal without burning it up. And I hear that a jigsaw blade, not a jigsaw blade, but a hacksaw blade may not do that. And maybe I'd put a hacksaw blade on there. But what if the hacksaw blade goes fast and heats up? Is that the reason that it doesn't work? Burn it because you're not applying so much friction? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. But for now, look, I'm stoked about how this happened. I'm stoked about how it turned out. If I had something softer to cut, I didn't mind destroying a little bit, I would cut it for you. But unfortunately, don't. I need some of my other plywood. I want to build a similar fence, a tall fence for that table saw, because that's going to be a real issue when you're trying to push material through like that. That's how I actually lost the little corner of that finger right there on a table saw doing that maneuver without a guide, without a jig, and I got a little cocky. Metal will work harden if you're heating it too fast. That's what kills the blades. Yeah. Kevin says DeWalt or Milwaukee. Personally, my favorite tape measures on the market so far, this is my bread and butter. Every time I lose one, I buy another, and then I find the other. So they seem like they last forever to me as well. But I got a whole bunch of that going on. Like it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And I know you're gonna hate this, but I got some of this going on too. Oh. But it's what I be doing. You're a Milwaukee fan yourself? Listen, I got a plumber buddy of mine that swears by Milwaukee. And every time I go help him on a job or he comes to help me, his tools are a delight. I'm not going to front. Milwaukee makes good, functional tools. I'm not mad at him at all. Walt Licker says, I have a rigid chop saw. Been good for years. Yeah. Rigid has, first off, Rigid has wet vac of the year locked down for the last. It's like the F-150 of wet vacs. And that's what I use for all of my shop dust collection. On every one of these ports, on every one of my tools with a blade, they have dust collection for hooked up to a Rigid. So they do great. I love them. And my stapler that we just used is a Rigid. I've had that thing for years. So I've been around long enough to try a bunch of different brands, and what breaks goes away and I replace it with something different. You know what I mean? I'm a DeWalt guy. My dad and grandpa were too, says Kevin Southwood. I like that name, Southwood. That's a nice name for a woodworker if you are one. Walt says you aren't wrong with the vacuums. They are great. They really are. I got a lot of favorites, right? But like Porter cables are my favorite. Brad nailers and T nailers. That's a T nailer that I just had. Also, my palm nailer is a Porter cable. And I bought this on the cheap one day, and it is magnificent. I've never had a complaint about it. And Hitachi has really done some cool stuff lately. I mean, even with the old Makitas, this is my other bread and butter. That thing, it is not a pass load. I'll say that. It's not a pass load, but it's pretty doggone good. Tim Reed says, what's up, Mr. West? What's up, Tim? Michael Chris, what's going on? Kevin says, my chopsticks is a win that I paid $100 for 15 years ago. and it's still holding in. 10-inch sliding saw. Wow. See, I've never touched or even in person a wind tool, so I wasn't sure what the value of that brand would be. And then also, usually when I buy my tools, I'm buying them on the fly. Like if I have to buy a tool, I've already got stuff. So usually something broke or something came up, so I have to go somewhere and get it today. So I never order tools on the internet unless I don't need them today. Say autocorrect got you. It gets me too, brother. I forgot. I used to be able to spell pretty good until autocorrect, and then it just informs me that spent all my brain cells on '90s rap lyrics. So it is what it is. We all fall short somewhere. Oh, I'm trying to look for where I put this thing because I'm not gonna say I never use it, but I use my table saw less and less when I'm not building cabinets. I use it all the time when I'm building cabinets. If I'm not, that thing right there, that Craig jig, is magic. Your drill press is a win. Happy with it. That's what's up. That's what's up. I didn't even hear of that brand until a couple years ago. And I thought it was brand new. I thought it was like a brand new brand, but apparently it's been around a while. Um, and Harbor Freight is every day coming up with different stuff, making better deals as they get better and better, bigger and bigger. Because I remember when all their motor power tools were junk. If you got a table saw, it was gonna pull to the side. If you got a wet saw, it was gonna wiggle when you cut stuff. It just was a place full of bad tools. And now technology has gotten such, engineering has gotten such, and business negotiations have gotten such that they can produce a decent tool. I'm not gonna say they're time-tested tools, but a decent tool. Love that jig. Use mine all the time as well. Crazy accurate. The wind layout, I think he's talking about the Craig jig. It is super accurate. It will do almost everything the table saw will do. That thing and a piece of 2 or 3 inch foam, and you can have at it. The wind tools are supposed to be a great option too. Project Farm does a great product review on wind, and it always holds its own. Tim Reed said, "That's interesting. I trust me some Project Farm." Tim, I love that channel, says Kevin Ellis. Yeah, man. If you're trying to buy tools, there is no better place to go check and make sure you're not going to get a bum tool. I am still, however, I've determined that I'm not going to be able to find a sub $100 trim router. That was my goal, because I don't need a trim router in construction and what I do day to day. I just don't. Occasionally I'll use my table router, but I don't use a trim router. But doing furniture or doing stuff like that I want to be into, I definitely need a trim router. The Milwaukee, they said it's a little bit hard to micro adjust. The Makita, I think they were saying that about. And otherwise, it's great. But they keep saying the DeWalt is the one to go to, but DeWalt, their corded tools cost too much. But I'm going to get it. I am going to probably get it. But I'm going to get it when I have something to do with it first, before I just buy it early. Because I've got tons of router bits for that router table that I've never used. I've used the router table, I don't use a bunch of the bits. I have a Master Force trim router that's pretty great. Yeah, where's that from? It is Ryobi days. They have a trim router under $100. I heard bad stuff about it though. I heard that trim router. I was watching the reviews on that because I got my batteries are DeWalt and Ryobi, so I was definitely interested in it. But I think it was Project Farm maybe that did the reviews on it. or somebody did a comparison. I saw a few that just didn't like the Ryobi. Oh, battery platform. Many say the Milwaukee is at the top. Yeah, I've heard that. Now, I don't want a battery platform if I don't have to. Like, if it's a Ryobi and it holds up, or if it's a DeWalt and it holds up, then I'm okay with the battery. I don't want a new battery form in here. I just don't. Even if it's a dedicated tool, I don't want another battery platform in here. I'm running out of places to store them. Use your big red. I get it. Mansard Manor. So Master Force, I looked that up. Kevin. Have I drank water today? You know what? I have not drank any water today, just coffee. Now, I've touched my sensitivities of self-care, and I'm gonna go upstairs and get me some water. Look at y'all showing love. Show love by touching that like button up there. I need it. Look, I got a bunch of people in here. I got 10. Hook me up. Hook me up. Hook me up. Boop, boop, boop. Now, the little gnats can't get into. I usually take plastic cups downstairs just because I leave them. But fill up the big Snoop Dogg and we have plenty of water. I always pour my water dramatically. It's who I am. I got adapters on Amazon for my Ryobis because they use DeWalt and Milwaukee. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That is a great idea. Thanks to the internet and China stealing patents and junk. I'm gonna get some of that stuff. I'm being honest, but I'm being serious too. I'm totally gonna get some of that stuff. I need to be able to swap it out and not buy new batteries. Ask yourself, what does the project call for? Good work, says Matt. Thank you. Twice, thank you. Oh, Tim Reed, getting the autocorrect damage again. I'm sorry that's happening to you, King. Yep. We're having a day today. Pretty good day today. Get in there. Snoop Dogg. Alright, now we're sitting here waiting on glue to dry, having a little chat about what tools y'all use. But yeah, Milwaukee all day for this. Tell you another little secret. These are good until. That's the problem when they build tape measures too thick. They bend and then they break and then they're like this. I can never use this on a decent span because it's going to twist as I go and eventually dump down. I've had that problem twice with those. I have not had that problem with these at all. Just haven't. So, I'm good with that. Kevin is dipping out on us. Guys, have a great day. I need to get going. Peace, bro. Daps, pounds, loves. Have a great day. Tim says just got back from grabbing a Ryobi inflator for all the kids' inflatables. Oh, yeah. So, now, don't get me wrong. I've got a shop full of Ryobi tools. They're great for it in the shop use. I don't go take them out and beat them up on a job site unless I need something specialty done. Just one more shout out, guys. Hit that like button. I appreciate you, Kevin. I buy my shop tapes in multi-packs. DeWalt 9-inch. Keep them all over so I don't have to look as much. Yep. And I check mine against each other so that if the guy's on that end of the house with the tape measure and I'm on this end, that we're getting the same feedback. If he's got a different tape than I do, I give him one of mine. So that way we get the same measurements everywhere. It doesn't really matter if the measurement's off, as long as you're using the same tape and you're off the same each time. So I think I'm gonna get back focused on this truck. I'll be honest with y'all, I just don't like working on vehicles. But I'm gonna do it because I have to get this truck going. And maybe I'll film a video on this boat out there. I've been teasing that for a couple of days, but I am gonna get to it. Let me ask, why would a contractor use a cordless when outlets are everywhere? Real simple. Real simple. Because outlets are everywhere, but there are not a lot of outlets everywhere. For instance, in the bathroom, you're generally going to have that one GFI over the sink or at the sink, and that's it. All your tools have to do that, and they have to stretch and climb over that sink. And if you're working on the other side of the room, you're running extension cords, guys are tripping over stuff. It is way more convenient. Way more convenient. However, in the shop, I don't care quite as much about the router thing because I don't use it often enough. If I use it all the time, I probably wouldn't want to. But I save money on a blower by getting a 100-foot cord and a cheap electric blower. It works great. But as I walk around through my yard, I snatch up every lamp and light that I've put in the ground because the cord wraps around everything and hangs on everything. You got to turn around, fling it, and get it off of stuff. Cordless is definitely better if you can get the same power. If you can't get power and it slows you down, then that's another problem. Buddy says, what's good, blood? What's going on, folk? The companies have stopped investing in cordless tool technology because batteries are good business. Well, this is true. I mean, brushless technology came around and we got some good corded tools. I can't think of something that's corded that I need to be better. So mostly the corded tools are satisfied, are good. I think they've got that technology down. The cordless tools over the last couple of years, lithium batteries and then brushless tools, it's got a little bit more efficient. Things hold their power longer, things last a little bit longer. I remember I got one of the very first Ryobi sets that they had in the gray box, and all the tools were blue with little yellow buttons. And they were junk. And they weren't junk because Ryobi's junk. They were junk because the battery systems at the time weren't strong. It didn't last long. So if you put a load on any of those tools, they burnt out really quickly. And that was the biggest problem with them. But over the years, lithium batteries are way better, and this new generation of batteries is even better than that. And I think that's where the technology is going to, and I think that's a good thing. But as long as it can pull the load, as long as it can do the work, I'm happy with it. I remember when I was a young guy, when I very first started framing, we used to tease guys who used pneumatic tools because we thought they couldn't swing hammers properly. And it turns out it just made them faster. So if you know how to do the work and you got something that helps you go faster, you'll make more money, you'll do better work, be more efficient, you'll be cheaper work. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. But I am going to get out of here. I'll be stalling, man. I'll be stalling on working on this truck. Ugh. Thank y'all for hitting the like, whoever did. I know one of y'all did it, and I see it up there, and I appreciate it. Whoever you are, thanks to you. Show up on the channel and give me a shout. Everybody else, get out of here. Go find something to do yourself. You're over here watching me, you bums. Just kidding. Appreciate all y'all. Especially you, Tim. Thanks for hanging out and giving me so much content here to talk about. Roomy, you're always in the house. I appreciate you for sure. And thanks for holding the chat down, chat. And soon and very soon we'll have our little pins in here and we'll be officially monetized. Right now I'm technically monetized, but I ain't getting nothing except for super chat donations. But when I get my pin and all this stuff goes through, I should be good. And then I'll tell y'all what I'm going to do with the money. Because when I make money, I'm spending it here. And we're going to see what we can build for the cheap. Today it was that. West Desert.